It was, what does Turkey Alalshikh know? It's definitely fake news. People got nothing to talk about because it's the international break. Fast forward 24 hours and Turkey Alalshikh has spoken again. And it's not Saudi. Is there going to be a new 5 billion offer for Manchester United put down on the table? Or in excess of 5 billion pounds? Man United seem to be in the dark about this, but Turkey Alalshikh is saying that he's caught wind of a consortium from the UAE that are coming together to potentially put a bid in. Are we back here again? You know, UAE, Abu Dhabi, Dubai vibes, etc., etc. So it's not Saudi. You know what I mean? It isn't Saudi, but there's talks. Something's happening. Whether or not it materializes into an actual bid, I personally will believe it when I see it. I'm not getting too excited, but let me know what you guys are saying. Because Turkey Alalshikh said, yeah, it might not happen. Also stated he's a Man United fan who just would like it to happen. But he's saying, I got sources, and this is what I'm hearing. Let me know what you lot are saying. Is this just international break talk, or is there something else there?
It comes out from the likes of Alex Crook, Ben Jacobs, TalkSport, and others going, actually, the group that Turkey Alalshikh is referring to is from the UAE. It's not from Saudi. It's not from Qatar. It's something that he's basically heard and he's not involved in. And this is actually something that he later confirmed himself on social media yesterday evening. He doubled down. He said yesterday's post about Manchester United's potential sale meant one thing. The club is in an advanced negotiation phase with a new investor. Just to clarify, I am not the investor, nor are they from my nation. So they're not from Saudi and it's not Turkey. I'm posting this as a fan who wishes the deal to happen, though it might not necessarily happen. So distancing, but also doubling down, going, I meant what I said, but just to clarify, it's got nothing to do with me. This is just something that I've heard. I'm a Manchester United fan. Now, more's come out here from different articles now as the journalists, like you say, who have been caught off guard by this, have started to do their digging, going, have you heard anything? What's going on? Within Man United, the response has been, we don't know anything about it. But from other sources, they're saying, actually, there is maybe something in this. Chris Wheeler from the Mail saying that Manchester United could be the subject to this fresh takeover bid following the claim by Turkey Alalshikh. A consortium based in the United Arab Emirates is understood to be considering making an offer to the Glazer family, who would demand in excess of £5 billion to sell the club. And they've reportedly already approached some ex-United players about coming on board as ambassadors.
That bit, just really quickly before you carry on, that last bit there about the ambassador. Remember when Sheikh Jassim was going to be on his way in, one of the mandates was that, you know, getting ex-pros involved, you know, we want them close to the club again, etc. That was that. I remember that being quite a key theme.
Yeah, and it continues by saying, critically, so far, there's been no contact with United's majority owners, and the picture is very different to the one painted by Turkey in his post on Wednesday. But his claim does have credence because he's the head of the General Entertainment Authority, responsible for bringing some of the world's highest profile sporting events to Saudi Arabia, and is understood to be in talks with Manchester United over possibly playing there during Riyadh season, which starts on Friday, today, and runs until March. However, the comment caught United by surprise. An Old Trafford insider said Thursday that they don't know where the information has come from. In fact, the consortium's plans are still at an early stage with no guarantee will even develop into a formal bid. It is understood the group is UAE based, but the key figures are not from Qatar or neighboring Saudi Arabia. Finally, this is where it gets interesting about what Inos would know, because the answer is Inos technically might not know anything because they don't have to know anything. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, of course, and Ineos fended off a rival bid from a Qatari consortium headed by Sheikh Jassim when he purchased 27.7% of Manchester United in February of last year. Now, critically, the deal included a, quote, drag-along clause that took effect this August, so just a couple of months ago. And basically, this drag-along clause enables the Glazers to open talks with potential investors without Ratcliffe's knowledge, and it actually could force him to sell his shares should they actually agree a deal. So James kind of mentioned this last night on Trafford Talk, but kind of before this article came out, and he was sort of saying, well, people that would be in the know, I don't know anything about it from those that I've spoken to, was effectively what he was saying. But then you find out that those that would and should be in the know actually
might not be because of that clause.
Yeah, won't be in the know.
Nothing to do with them.
The Glazers could absolutely and be well within their rights as per the deal to go and start these negotiations, to go and start talking to people. And you don't have to tell the SEC or anything like that if it's very, very, very early stages and it's very, very informal. And maybe Man United don't know that much about it at the moment, but the groundwork's being done over there in the UAE, that Ineos could be gazumped by it. They could just be told one day, yeah, you know, we're getting close to a deal. We didn't have to tell you. And also, you've got to sell us your shares now because we've agreed this deal. And they could be completely powerless. So this is when... So
You're on your way back in.
I'm coming back.
You're coming back. You're nearly back.
I'm coming back. But so basically, Ineos could be totally, totally powerless. They could be totally, totally surprised by this.
Yeah.
And to go back to the initial comment that was on the screen earlier on, going tired of the rumors, it's more than a rumor. Something there. It feels like there is something there with this
something there. Until there's nothing there, I think there's something there. Now, I don't think it's something to invest all our stocks into to be like, oh my God, it's going to happen. Listen, it's the hope that kills you, right? I think we're so scarred from what happened during the last takeover when we really, at one point, there was a point, well, I say we, I don't like speaking for everyone, but it felt like there was such a feeling of like, oh my gosh, like the Glazers could actually sell like this whole thing. They could actually cash in and get out of our football club. And then the more it started to transpire, we realized, okay, they're pulling a blinder here. They're looking for minority investment, etc., etc. And then whatever it led to with Ineos. And of course, it was a time where there was a lot of disagreement in the fan base when the Sheikh Jassim thing was happening, the Qatar versus, you know, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and stuff like that. Loads of people sort of saying, no, don't want state-owned, history of the club, I don't like that, this, that, and the other. So Jim was doing the line of putting the Manchester back in Manchester United, all of that stuff, doing that, those kind of rhetorics. And it led us to here. So I think whenever something like this pops up again, we want there to be hope, right? We want there to be hope. So that's the first thing about like just the emotional side of us fans. The second bit now is who's actually saying this, which I agree with you, bro. This changes things, because what it used to be, or what it has been in the past, is, you know, like you say, someone at Bloomberg says this, or Mike Keegan was really across it, kind of had him on the channel a few times. I know Chris Wheeler's been quite across it a lot. Said journalists would say this, or big outlets from Qatar or that part of the world would suggest Sheikh Jassim's doing this. Turki Alalshikh is such a significant figure in sports in that region and business in that region that you have to listen. And then because he's clarified what he's saying, where he's not just done like some cryptic thing to leave Man United on fans on the end of his comment section to be like, what's he going to say next? He's saying, I'm going to clarify this. What I've been told, or what I know to be true, is they are at an advanced stage. He's saying they are at an advanced stage of investment. Now, that could look like investment coming in for stadium. It could look like investment coming in for infrastructure or something. But then when you kind of read on and gather some more facts about it, it is suggesting like, well, yeah, there is stuff that like you said, clauses in contracts whereby if a certain offer came in that, you know, the Glazers they don't owe Sir Jim anything. We're now into a period where they don't have to tell him shit. He could just walk into character and they go, by the way, we just accepted $7 billion from a UAE consortium. So that 27% you got, sell it. Which is mad, by the way. I say if that's what we're being told is part of his deal, that's a really risky clause to have in there, considering you're working with the Glazers who are money grabbing, because if somebody did come in and offer an astronomical amount of money, more than what the Glazers are asking for or what the Glazers would want, I don't see how they wouldn't accept it, probably. Do you know what I'm saying? like a record bid for a franchise, etc., etc. And so Jim could just be left in the dark, having pumped his own money in, having been in the firing line, having built this, footballing department, and then go off that. So listen, I personally, I don't think that will happen. I don't think that will happen. I really don't. But
I mean,
there's something brewing. I just, maybe just don't know what.
From again, this isn't, I'm far from an expert in any of this kind of stuff, particularly shares and obviously finances or what have you. From what just quickly looking online, it would look like these kind of drag along clauses, as they're called, are pretty common in when you have people buy, minorities of company. Because
so it's what majority guys do to just protect themselves. Over like, we don't want to be tied into this. We might want to sell it for
because also it allows them to, it gives them the flexibility to actually have a full sale, 100% sale of the business, because you could have a situation where you're looking to sell in totality to an investor or what have you, and obviously those minority shareholders, maybe they could block it depending on certain rights or what have you, and it gives you extra control. So I think, again, far from an expert, but I don't, from what I'm looking at, I don't think the drag along clause or anything like that is completely uncommon.
Now, listen, I know it's a bit of a weird fight, but you got Chris Wheeler versus Turkey Alalshikh, and Chris Wheeler saying they're considering it, and Turkey saying that they're in advanced stages. And advanced stages, for something to be advanced, you would think that the majority owners would have an inclination of what's going on. Advanced means sort of, crossing the T's, dotting the I's in basic business terms. Advanced. It's not early.
Specifically, Man United is now in an advanced stage of completing a deal to sell to a new investor.
See,
now, obviously,
so that's not stadium. That's not.
Yeah,
that's a portion of the club, a percentage of the club.
We have to be careful here, I suppose, as well, because this is a translated version from Arabic. English is also not his first language, and it wasn't even a post that was in English as well. The second post was in English, saying that once again the club is in an advanced negotiation phase with a new investor. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, and Man United, and he's referencing my post about Manchester United's potential sale. That's what I'm saying. So he's not. There's no ambiguity about, is it, from what we've seen, it doesn't look like investment for a stadium or investment for a bit of cash injection and you can get it's insinuating. It's insinuating sale. Yeah. Chris Wheeler's insinuating sale, consideration. Turkey Alalshikh is insinuating sale. Nobody else is insinuating anything else. We're kind of, because we're not really sure what to make of this, we're rightly so being cautious and sort of throwing out, no, there is this stadium. We do need money. We do need this. Maybe it's not a sale. But the two people that are, and especially Turkey, who started this all off, like, they're not talking about no stadium, bro. They're talking about the sale of the club. And I don't know. Because also, could you get the Glazers / Man United, obviously, when approached for comment, yeah, just shut that down. We don't know. Don't let them know we're talking to UAE. They don't need to know this. They don't need to know that. And then a couple of days later, we're going to get an exclusive from another journalist when things start to get leaked. I don't know. But is it a surprise to see the club go? Would the club go? Would it be likely? And I'm just asking a question to you guys out loud so we can think about it. Would it be likely that if this was actually happening in the background, at the first port of call of all the media kind of getting a whiff of it because Turkey Alalsheikh's gone so strong because he's well connected, would the club go, there has been some conversations, we don't want to comment further at this point? Would they actually address that? Or is the easier thing for them to do go, we're not aware of this interest at this time?